You are listening to Two Heels and a Face Wrestling Podcast, a podcast where we believe wrestling is a buffet and there's something there for everyone. Make sure you're following us on all social media such as Twitter, Instagram, Facebook under Two Heels and a Face. That's number 2 Heels and a Face. Make sure you check out our website, twoheelsandaface.com.
Era, 2 Heels and a Face.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Twos and Face Wrestling Podcast. On today's episode, we finally got our golden goose, so to speak. Not really, but we're talking to someone we've been emailing with for some time now, and we're very excited to talk to him. Obviously, it was worth rescheduling a couple times because this is someone who, you know, we've talked about at length on this podcast, and someone who I think we've really been watching since like 2017. Since we've been going to AAW pro shows. Before we get into that discussion with this gentleman, Cris, you're a little under the weather, but how you doing, man?
I'm doing well. Normally I would have a Modelo and I would crack it open right now, but I'm actually drinking a cup of tea. So,
okay.
yeah, a little under the weather, but I'm doing well and excited to get to this episode. Like you said, it's been a long time coming, and we've been, you know, waiting to talk to the one and only Davey Vega.
Yeah, we're gonna bring him in now, I think.
Well, come on. Yep.
Hey guys,
Davey.
Golden Goose is pretty high praise there.
Well, it is true. I mean, we have talked before, and really, when Cris and I met, we actually attended an AAW show. Fun history that maybe 2 people listening will care about. But when we attended an AAW show, together. It was the Mick Foley show at Berwyn, and we didn't even know each other then. So this is like pre-pod. And I'm pretty sure, I think Fitchett opened with Gulak on that show, which we talked about a year from today when we had Fitchett on. So since 2017, I think we've been very aware of the besties and what you guys have done.
And we recorded an episode at that second floor of
yes, do you recall?
Club. Yeah, we sure did. I remember we had to clear out some space, and we were kind of hanging out for a little bit before the interview, but then we got it set up and ready to rock, and we were just in that middle room.
Yeah,
right.
The room where it's just like it's like random like pieces of foam, and God knows what else is up there.
All kinds of diseases.
It's amazing venue though. It's got a lot of charm. But no, we're really excited to talk to you. I mean, I think like we've talked to Trent. We talked to Trent basically like 4 months on this podcast. Trent from AAW, and we're constantly talking about how we're fans of the besties. So it's a great honor to have you, honestly.
I appreciate you guys taking the time, and I have to apologize for screwing you guys around so much with trying to get me on here. So I'm glad we're finally able to make it work.
Yeah, this is great. It's great to just to do this again. I remember the vibes were good when we were hanging out upstairs, and that was serious. I don't even know when that was. That was before a JLMT.
That was the towards the beginning of the besties, no?
I think so, because you guys were having that discussion. I remember the discussion was centered around, and once again, if people who listen to this episode, you're like, we talked a year ago, we talked about this same thing with Fitchett, but I think it's worth bringing up because you guys were like, we are literally the last drive-ins on this poster. Do you recall that conversation?
Yeah, because we thought we were on the chopping block. We were like, man, legitimately, we are the only drive-ins left. Everyone else is getting flown in, and it's a supercard now. So maybe we're going to get our pink slips tonight.
Well, you guys have come a long way. I mean, you've survived all the I guess you could say survived, but you survived and thrived all these years there at AAW.
Oh man, really cool. Survived all kinds of cuts, man.
COVID came back after that. Like all kinds of shit.
Everything.
That's awesome.
Now we're at a point where you're even going back to the Berwyn Eagles Club.
Honestly, I never thought we were going to go back. This is honestly a nice surprise that we're heading back there this year.
Yeah, it's cool. It kind of feels like a return home, so to speak. Because I kind of saw that as AEW's home.
I agree, and especially, I mean, I've been working for AAW since 2012 now, 2011, 2012, I think, and that's where I started. I started wrestling at AAW in Berwyn on the pre-shows, so that's like, you know, fond memories of old AAW there. So
You
Yeah,
were the Alive
absolutely.
before the Alive series.
exactly.
The pre-alive. And speaking of AEW, I think you had a pretty interesting year, 2022. How do you feel like that year went overall? Now that I mean, it was a singles run. It still is a singles run, but that's kind of when it started, I think, last year, right?
Yeah. So it started when everything kind of came back. I don't know. I guess AAW came back more normally.
Yeah.
They started the Alive stuff for the Alive shows that they were doing in between shows to keep up storylines and stuff. But yeah, I think 2022. It started off kind of slow, but as you can see, I'm AAW Heritage Champion again, and it ended off with I'm on a pretty good hot streak at the moment. So I think 2022 was really good to me, at least for AAW.
Absolutely. Chris, I think you lost the
Yes, my monitor's going all over the place.
We saw into your Slack for a second.
I saw it. I saw that, and then saw the face of you scrambling to try to fix it.
I'm like, what is going on?
No. Trent was quoted, I think, saying you're on a pretty historic run. Some of the best single stuff of your career. Like how explain to me the difference between obviously doing the tag stuff with Fitchett and now this kind of like faction you got with Johnny Bravo and stuff like that. Like going into the night, is it different? Is your preparation different? Like just anything like that?
Well, and to touch on like the single stuff is like I started off as a tag wrestler, like got trained and started tagging with another friend of mine before Fitchett came along, and then we started tagging. So like, I mean, I've had some singles runs through the years.
Yeah.
But I mean, pretty exclusively since probably 2015 or so. Yeah, man, before this singles run in 2021 when the Alive started, I want to say I hadn't had a singles match in probably close to 3 years prior to that.
Damn.
So,
Oh, wow.
yeah. So I will say preparation as far as cardio goes, yeah, between a tag match and a singles match, you have to prepare basically for two people at that point, because I've had someone to have my back all those
Right.
years, and now it's like, well, it's just me out there.
Definitely.
So yeah. But yeah, preparation wise, I mean, like, I wouldn't say it's any different outside of the cardio, and like just trying to maintain a good ring body, basically, just maintaining that in cardio. But outside of that, everything else is pretty much the same. I will say, like, without him being around and tagging, like, we don't it's not like ships in the night, but like we're less near each other when we're at the shows, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
We haven't been doing the tag stuff much. So
how is it working with Johnny Bravo? I mean, he seems, it's not that you, and I wouldn't say it's not that you can't talk from a wrestling standpoint. I think like we've seen you and Fitchett do like pretty funny promos that kind of show who you are.
Yeah.
But you really don't even need to do that now when you're in the ring or backstage. You can just kind of just let him do his thing. I'm sure that is helpful in ways.
Oh yeah, Bravo's great. He not only just the fact that, like, obviously he's a veteran and he's been in wrestling for a long time now, so he knows the ins and outs. So whatever pointers that he's been able to give to me along the way, and I've been able to utilize in the ring and in promos and just inside and outside of the ring, like, have been bar none some of the best advice I've gotten in wrestling.
Okay.
So obviously that's a factor. And just he's he's a character, man.
Mhm.
It's just like you see him walk out in those suits, and you right away, like, people just want to hate him, and I love it. I think it's great. um again, it's been some of the not to knock the besties, because the besties was some of my favorite stuff, like one of my favorite runs, obviously. And but this
Yeah.
run with Bravo, like, I'm having fun doing what we're doing, and it's I like where the direction we're going.
That's awesome. That's good to hear that you're having fun, for sure, because I think that at the end of the day is what no matter what you're doing, whether you're on a Heritage Title run or you're, doing scrambles, like, you got to enjoy with the role you're playing, at least to some extent.
Yeah, and I think that that when people like I can't say jump ship, but like start at other companies, or don't go to one company as much as they used to, it's usually not creative differences, but you got to enjoy what you're doing out there.
Mm-hmm.
And because if you don't, then, like, the product's going to suffer. So, and
Yeah.
not only that, but it's like you don't feel like you got the job done. And that you're there to get it, go out there, have a great match, and if I don't know, that's just kind of how I feel about it. But
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like I mean, not right now. We're talking about the run with Johnny as your manager here, but even with the besties, right? It wasn't just the besties for a while. Like, Scarlett Bordeaux was with you guys for a while, and it just kind of that dynamic. Like, it was always entertaining. Like, it seemed like you were having fun, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for us, like, that piece of entertainment, right? That piece of the buffet line, the wrestling buffet line, is what made us buy tickets to go see the besties, right? Because they were gonna have fun, they were gonna have their interactions, and for a long time, Charlie and I in this podcast would be like, "This is the month when they're gonna break up. This is the month where they're gonna do this and that." But just carrying that along for so long, and now in this run as the Heritage champion one more time. Now, when I started going to AAW, I remember you were like having the title on and off. I can't remember who was the other contender, but I'm like, I think I've seen Davey Vega as the Heritage champion more than anyone else.
No, yeah,
No.
once before, at least, right? Or no?
Yeah, I had it
Mhm.
once before. I beat
Yeah.
Lewis. I don't remember the year, so forgive me on that. But I beat Lewis Linden.
Yes, Lewis Linden. Mhm.
Yeah, at Bourbon Street, and then I lost to AR Fox, I think 3 weeks later.
Okay.
So I
Okay.
think it was my first defense, and I lost. But but no, yeah, I have won it once before, and I have eclipsed my last reign at this point. So
Okay.
What is that? I want to touch on two things there, because Chris,
yeah.
Mhm.
what the Heritage Title? What does it mean to you?
Man, so the first time that I got that I won it was I didn't know who I was. Like, there were so many things, and I can't say backstage stuff because I love AAW, and there's always
Sure.
been like I've never had any issues as far as like backstage stuff, but we were trying to figure out who I was in AAW to the crowd, and what I could do, what direction we could take it in. I think there was a couple different iterations of myself within a couple months. If you go back to like right before the besties, there was a couple different iterations of like what kind of heel or what kind of bad guy
Mhm.
I was going to be during AAW or whatever. And then we were finally able to, we started the besties, and I was finally able to, like, I found myself.
Yeah.
And then the first Heritage Title win was more of it was less planned and more surprise than anything. Like, I don't remember why or what happened, but it was just like, hey, here's Vega. So
Okay.
this one felt and I'm not the Heritage title itself, but the two different reigns. This feels, what's the word I'm looking for? I guess more genuine.
Yeah, like intentional.
Yeah, it feels like this was supposed to happen. This is the right move, and this was supposed to happen.
Okay.
You know what I mean? If that makes sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I think as far as the two different title reigns, this you know, this one is my favorite so far, and there's still obviously some time left in it. We'll see where it goes, but as a AAW Heritage title itself, man, there's been so many battles for that thing, and so many great contenders and great champions, man. Like, just to have my name in that line, and then on top of that, like being one of the best tag team in AAW, you can't take that away from us now. Like, we got the longest reign on shortest amount of title reigns. Like, we're number one in AAW, so it's like, and it's a nice feather in the hat,
Yep. Yeah, and that's the other thing I kind of wanted to get at too, is like when Cris, I think what Cris was kind of getting at is like, and I don't know how you guys teamed up with Scarlett, but no matter how that happened or whose choice that was, you guys made the most out of that partnership.
Yeah, you're sorry, and I wanted to touch on that because when we started the Besties, it was like, oh, what are they going to do next? What are they going to do next? Is it, it's Fitchett versus Vega. One of these days, like you said, they're going to break up. They're going to break up. It's going to happen. And then instead of breaking up, we added Scarlett.
Yeah.
And we added another layer to that onion. And through the years, like, and some of it's been, I'd say about 75% of it's been intentional, but there's been like a quarter of it that's just been like, we were lucky that it just so lined up in the story and it made sense. But we've added some layers to the story through the years of the Besties, and like, it's not over yet. But we'll see where it's headed, what direction it goes.
Right. And that's why, and I don't know if did you read the article that we wrote about you and Fitchett?
I believe so. It's been a few weeks though now, so I'd have to get a refresher on it.
Because that's the thing that like Cris and I, because like it's not like Cris and I were rooting for you guys to break up, so you could lose the title. It was like, we're rooting for you to be put in situations that are like really good for your characters. Almost, it's like that's almost what we're rooting for, because we know. And I wrote an article on this, and I'm still gonna keep putting it over because, God damn it, I put some time into it. And I want people to read it, but there's so much history with you guys. Like, it almost writes itself if you and Fitchett were to go toe to toe.
Yeah, and that was the thing. I will say, I think at some point it was gonna happen.
Okay.
Like previously, it was gonna happen, and then I don't remember what stopped it. And then we were like, I think we just added another layer to the onion of what the Besties are in that case. I do know that it was going to happen at one point, but we nixed it and it went in a completely different direction. So this has been a few years now. I think it was like really early on, honestly.
Oh, I see. That's actually really cool to hear. That almost vindicates our smarky planning that we like to do. And not that we're never, this is how it has to go. Otherwise, we're just like, actually, this would be a really fun idea. Like, pull that thread a little bit. But it's really cool to hear at least that it was on the table, because I feel like, and you can then like, and I wrote this in the article too, but like all those sayings that you guys have about like mowing another man's lawn.
Yeah.
And like you could just keep throwing that at each other now instead of throwing it at your opponents. I just feel like there's so many good ideas. That article that I wrote, you could write it 4 different ways and it still could come out like really good.
Right. And that's the thing. Like, I think we, and we're nowhere near these guys, obviously, because it's the feud is just by far one of the best, but like, it's got a Steenerico vibe without us ever touching each other. We've been best friends and we've never double crossed each other, but could it happen? Like I said, like early on we thought about it, but like it's been so built up now, like where does it go? So I don't know. It's interesting to see like, well, what what we decide or where it goes. So
Yeah. And I agree with the point. Yeah, I think you guys could further it and you wouldn't even have to wrestle for like months and you could still just continue to further it. You could continue just to throw jabs at him in like locker room scenes and stuff like that. Like you wouldn't even need to wrestle. And I feel like I'd be on board for it. So,
well, and like with us, like we're super nerds, like with the like movies and stuff, like Easter eggs and stuff. So we've hidden some stuff in promos and stuff that I don't know if people have noticed or not. So.
Oh yeah, I did some research. I would watch a shit ton of your promos, so those might have went over my head. But I just literally went to AAW's YouTube channel and I just typed in both of your names. I felt like I watched 8 or 9 on there before I sat down and actually like started typing stuff out. So, yeah.
That leads me to ask, right? The name Davey Vega, does that come from Street Fighter Vega?
It does actually.
Wow, good catch.
It's no one's. You would think that would be people's first guess, but I'd say 95% of the time it is not where their head goes immediately.
Well, your gear also at the beginning, for me at the beginning when I started seeing you, like it sort of resembled it a little bit.
See, and I thought that was a dead giveaway, but
okay.
Chris,
but I guess, yeah, I guess people just didn't know Street Fighter or liked it as much as I did, so it didn't register, I guess. So for me,
I was a big Zangief guy. I liked getting up close and personal and pile driving, which that means Dalzim. Facing Dalzim was my nightmare. I think
absolutely.
Dalzim likes to keep you at a distance, and I wanted to grab. That's how I did damage. Was I would just grapple people.
Well, and this is before I knew anything outside of how to do a Hadouken. I knew like I didn't know anything. Like I didn't know until about probably I think Street Fighter 4. And when I decided like, hey, I think I'm gonna maybe go through the tutorials and actually learn how to play this game.
And actually learn instead of button mashing.
Exactly.
Yeah. I played a shit ton of Street Fighter 2 Turbo on the Super NES. I think.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
Fantastic game. Speaking of, this is a good segue. I did have some other non-wrestling stuff down here, but Ant-Man Quantumania coming up. Phase 5 is starting for MCU. I know you're pumped about that.
Absolutely.
Was Scott Lang gonna perish this? You think he's a dead man or not?
So going into last year before they even released the first trailer, and you know how Marvel is, they like to put scenes in the trailers that don't exist in the movies.
Correct.
So going into the trailer, I hadn't seen it. I was like, I've only seen like the smashed Ant-Man mask that they released.
Oh right.
Like, oh yeah, Scott Lang is gonna get it. Like he's absolutely like he's done. Because you always hear about like, oh, they're not contracted past this point or this, that, or the other, and it's like they could always negotiate, obviously, but like, you know, you see all these people leaving, you see them leaving all the time. So initially, I thought yes, he's gonna die, and then I kind of went a different direction, and I'm still kind of leaning towards it, but I think an Ant-Man will die, but it's gonna be Hank Pym, and not Scott Lang. But then I still think Scott Lang is going to die. I just think it's going to be one of the billions that were in the trailer, in this newest trailer. I don't think it's going to be our Scott Lang, but I think one of or a bunch of others will.
Yeah, that's the thing with the multiverse. I think it's a really cool concept, but it also isn't out for a lot of different stuff. It's like we can just even if our 616 Scott Lang dies, we can just bring him back through another universe or something like that. So we'll see how they do it, I guess.
Right. With everything going, obviously the multiverse of madness, whatever they're going, like you could just teleport somebody from another universe into ours and be like, hey, we got an Iron Man back.
Yeah, exactly. I want to get your opinion on that because I know you're a huge fan. Did you see Wakanda Forever? I'm assuming too.
Oh yeah, I went and I saw that in IMAX and man, so good. I'm gonna go against the grain and I'm gonna say that I actually loved Phase 4.
Okay.
Because it might just because I spent all that time rewatching MCU, and just how they layered everything, and being able to see it in real time was really fun. But I loved Phase 4. They told some of the best stories, in my opinion, because like they started off with WandaVision, amazing,
really good,
and then went to Captain America, Winter and Falcon and Winter Soldier. Went to that, and that was great too. It was more rooted in like real world stuff, and I think that's why I think it fell under the radar. But man, some of the acting in that was amazing. And some of these other shows too, like Loki, amazing. And I think really my only, and I've seen a few of the complaints with like She-Hulk, which She-Hulk was awesome. The people that hate it, I don't get it, but I did see the visual effects. I did see that. I was like, okay, I can understand the visual effects. But the rest of it, it felt like it was just a sitcom. It felt like a lawyer sitcom, and it was just a lot of fun to me. But yeah, I loved Phase 4, man. I think they told some really good stories, and like Black Panther 2, like the grieving process, and seeing that, and the like them having to like get through like their traumas and stuff, like that's really good. I mean, it's uncomfortable to see, obviously, but it's really good. It was just really well done.
I think you got to compare Phase 4 to like Phase 1, right? Because that was the start. It's like you compare like starting phase to starting phase, and people were comparing Phase 4 to Phase 3, I think. And it's just like, you can't do that because
100%. They have to build up all those stories, because Kang's not going to get built up in 2 movies,
right?
And he's supposed to be the big bad for the next 5 years, so or whatever, however many years they got left in the next Phase 5 and 6,
right? Yeah, I thought Loki was the best thing they did in Phase 4, hands down. I thought it destroyed all the movies. I really did like Wakanda Forever though as well.
Yeah, I loved Wakanda Forever. I want to say that was probably the best one of Phase 4, like best movie of Phase 4.
Yeah, I think so.
I honestly, I enjoyed Thor. I understood people's complaints, but I even went back and watched it a few times now with my little one. But
nice.
I loved Thor. I thought it was good.
Okay.
I liked the introduction of some of the new characters that they had. I did think that maybe they could have been a little bit more serious, but like if Hemsworth does come back, I mean, there's not saying that they can't do that still.
Agreed. Yeah.
Obviously, hopefully he does come back, and we're able to see some more. But yeah, I don't know. And then Shang-Chi was really awesome. I just rewatched that. Like all the fight scenes in that, like the visual effects were really good. I think that kind of flew under the radar a little bit. But yeah, man, I think you're right. I think Loki was really awesome. I think WandaVision was great. The only one that I didn't really gravitate to, and I think it was because it was kind of like and I watched it just because I watch them anyway. But Miss Marvel, just because I think it was more of a teenage like directed towards teenagers, it felt like, and it just didn't feel like I was supposed to be watching it.
Yeah, that's with every show felt different.
Yes, honestly. Exactly.
Which was really cool, and like that was the Gen Z show. And like it's funny, there's people who are like complaining about She-Hulk were like feeding into exactly what She-Hulk expected, because they were making fun of those people complaining about it in the show. It was very meta. Right. But I think the credit to them that like every show you watched felt like it had its own theme to it a little bit, even like Moon Knight and stuff like that. So
absolutely. Oh, I loved Moon Knight too. I don't know how I forgot about that, but like I think the movies are the same. Like they have their own, like obviously they're comic book movies, but like Ant-Man, oh, this is a heist movie. You have Captain America, this is a period piece movie. They have different types of movies. It's just they get labeled as just comic book movies because that's the cool thing to say, because the high artsy movies aren't making money.
Or people just don't watch them and judge them.
Right.
Yep. Chris, any thoughts on MCU?
Yeah, sorry,
No
man. We kind of
thoughts
left you in the
from me.
dust here.
I could have kept going too. I could have kept going.
As soon as the first question came up, I was like, "Oh, I'll just sit back and listen."
Chris is going to close out some work tabs in the background as we're doing that. Another guilty pleasure thing. What's the some of these I can't think of their name. This podcast I watched you on. Their name is escaping me at this moment. I did tweet the link out, so we did put them over at one point. What's the upper body workout nowadays?
Oh man. So I had to. Obviously I don't know if you guys have noticed my pre-quarantine to my post-quarantine body. I was a lot heavier before quarantine. Now it's just mainly it's because of I'm not in any like danger or anything, but like I have some nerve issues in my arms,
Okay.
in my neck that prevents me from pushing too much weight with my pecs anymore. So it's usually just incline dumbbells.
Okay.
I do that. I do flat bench dumbbell. I don't ever get under a barbell any longer. Push-ups. Yeah, I can't push like I just can't push that kind of weight anymore because of all the damage to my shoulders and stuff. So
I mean, it's all good. You gotta. I think a look, a shot, a remark to the crowd can for you for what Davey Vega needs. I think it doesn't have to be, the endurance can be there, but it doesn't need to be super strength that does the job.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been lucky enough where I feel like my whatever charisma or slimy dickhead heel stuff will get reactions whenever I need them. So,
how are you like that in real life at all, or no?
Oh God, no. I'm really laid back and I'm kind of a class clown, like when in crowds when I need to be, if you can't tell.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm pretty reserved. I like to laugh and not be the life of the party if I don't have to be.
I see. How is and this their name is escaping me. The episode that I'm referring to in my own head.
I'm trying to remember now too because I haven't done a podcast in a while, so I'm like, which one?
Yeah, it might have been. It might have been like pandemic-ish.
Okay.
Like 2020 ish. Because you were talking about your mental health and stuff. Like, how is that now? Is that in a good spot now?
So I actually deal with like I mean depression's depression, but I have seasonal depression. It usually starts around, depending on the weather, usually starts around earliest October, but latest I've noticed is probably late November, early December, and it lasts until till spring just about. And that's usually my biggest battle. My anxiety isn't as bad any longer.
That's good, because I can relate. I've been in therapy proudly. I think we should tell people, obviously, break the stigma a little bit. And
absolutely.
And I have anxiety, so that's why I asked that question to almost relate and make this a safe space. So
yeah, absolutely. I don't have any issues talking about it. I think it's a great thing. I think I think everybody should look into a therapist at some point. Just having that unbiased third, like outside opinion and being able to help you and maybe even direct you in life. I mean, that's what life coaches are. It's basically just a life coach. Like, to me, that's what it feels like, at least. And they help you with, whatever mental health, that you have. Like I said, I had really bad anxiety. It was really bad through the quarantine.
Right.
Almost to the point where I wasn't showing up to shows. I couldn't perform. I was, man, I remember the one Alive show. I don't remember who I was wrestling, but I came back and I was a mess. And like I had, it was me, Fitchett, and Danny, and it's the first time that I've ever gotten like uppity, basically, like with Danny. because like my anxiety was just shot through the roof. It wasn't me, basically. I wasn't myself because of it.
Yeah.
So it took a while, but you know, at shows I'm good now. Like anxiety isn't there.
That's good.
Yeah, anxiety usually is tied to more like my personal life now.
Okay.
Which is also like the source has diminished as well. So, you know, I have I have really, really great days, and then I have some bad days, but they're not as bad as what they were.
That's good to hear.
That's good. Yeah.
Yeah, and I also asked too because I saw a note from Fitchett today. I don't know if you saw that on Twitter. But I think he's kind of shutting down social media for a bit. Is maybe not in the best of headspace, and not necessarily maybe in love with wrestling at the moment, which I think is, and we've kind of talked about this too with like a Matt Nix before. And he kind of like fell out of almost like almost fell out of your passion and maybe need to re-find it again, or maybe just need like a break from it. So obviously we sent love to him via DM today, Fitchett. And yeah, I don't know if you had any thoughts on that or anything like that, but wish him the best, of course.
Yeah. I mean, all I have it, obviously I have all I can say is really just all the love and support to him. He's personal life, and then like falling out of, you know, it's this business is hard. Wrestling is hard.
Right.
And it's not just on the body, it's physically, mentally, spiritually, it's rough. So I just hope that, you know, if he, you know, wrestling's always going to be here if and when he wants to come back. But, you know, I'm glad he's putting himself first and not, you know, worrying about anybody else but him and his family. So that's what the way it should be.
Absolutely. That was well said. I think he even mentioned that too. Like wrestling's going to go on, but I think he just needs a break for now, which is fine. Speaking of Matt Nix, who's someone I think we've kind of talked about, like kind of rekindled his love for wrestling a little bit in 2022. Is like, would you be open to any more work, like, or doing more freelance wrestling stuff and like venturing into that area a little bit? Is that something you're open to? And I don't want to get you in trouble.
What was the question?
Sorry. And don't let me get you in trouble with any responses either. But are you open to like maybe doing more freelance wrestling or anything like that, like an arcade show or anything of that nature?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I actually had talks with them late last year about coming in. It just didn't work out. And also like it feels like, because I think the only place I've wrestled in Chicago has been AAW. I think I've been pretty exclusive except outside of like I think, you know, maybe 2 or 3 Black Label and then maybe a freelance show or 2. But I was in talks with them last year about it, but you know, we'll see. I've always liked those guys. I've known Matt Nix for, man, I think I've known him since 2008.
Damn.
Yeah. So like, I mean, I like love those guys. They're doing great things. I love the product. I love freelance. I know a lot of those guys from, you know, my early indie stuff. So, I wish them nothing but the best, and I'd love to, you know, revisit that at some point.
Yeah, no, that's, I think, music to our ears to know that, to know your personality, your character, how that can mingle with some freelance personalities and things like that. I did. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was going to say, and we've had ideas thrown our way and back and forth. But you just know, you know how it is with the, Fitchett and I, we've kind of just tried to stay away from the politics of the whole situation. And everybody's been great with the situation. Like they know, like they've been real respectful. Like, hey, we know you're AAW, like we get it, like blah blah blah. And it's like, it's really not like that. Like we could pick and choose. Like we can work wherever we want. Like that's not the issue. It's just like, we felt like we owed a lot to AAW. We wanted it to
Absolutely.
be like our Chicago home, basically. So
yeah, and this is not me trying to stir any pots. It's just me being a fan and thinking of like, oh wow, that would be really fun to see this person versus this person and things like that.
Oh no, man! Like I honestly, I'd love to. There's so many people I want to work with, or at least try to work with, and I'm not going to be able to do that in all at one place. So
yeah, because I think you did. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you did wrestle the Bang Bros. It was a second wrestling, right? And I think that's just a really cool, like we've seen you guys as the best tag team in AEW and the most consistent tag team in AEW. And now like the Bang Bros, I think, are on top of the freelance tag division. So it was kind of cool to see that happen at like almost another company. And that I think got the juices flowing of like what could be. So do you remember that match? Am I correct in saying that? I think
I think it was not last summer, but the beginning of the year, I believe.
Okay.
But yeah, those dudes are great. And that's the thing. It's like we got to work them there, and we haven't been able to cross paths with them ever since. So I was kind of hoping to be able to do that soon. I'm very familiar with their work. So yeah, like I said, there's so not even just singles like tags. There's so many tag like people that we want to work with and wrestle. Like we never really properly got like a real tag match with like Aussie Open. Well,
okay.
We've had 2 matches with them, and one was like the Attack video game battle royal. And then it was in New York for Revolver. It was a gauntlet match. So it was like, yeah. So that, that's another match we'd love to have. And obviously the Motor City Machine Guns, we're going to have to wait on that a little bit. But
damn, was that ever going to happen?
Yeah, it was supposed to happen on March 18th. But with this stuff, we don't know what's going to happen. So
I see. I hate to ask this because it's such a, it's on the more generic side of questioning, but I think it's January, right? We have a whole year ahead of us.
Yeah.
Are you more so just take it day by day and take it, show by show, or are you like, this is what I want to do this year for damn sure, or is it a little bit of both? And what are those things you want to do for damn sure this year?
Man. Honestly, I feel like I should have, like, the only thing that I have planned out are some of the shows for, like, I have like my consistent like shows planned out through the year. And then the rest of my schedule is filled out until probably March or April. And then I just got to start supplementing from there. Outside of that, week to week, man.
Yeah.
I really don't have a plan. Plus it's like, and this isn't me, putting myself down, but like there's a lot of great talent out there, so you got to compete for bookings with people too. So,
yeah, but none of them piss the crowd off like you do. At least not that I've seen. You like to get under their skin in a different way.
Yeah, I feel like I bring that to the table a little bit. So,
you were pretty close there on the JLM team.
Yeah, man. What happened? One from talking in the Berwyn Eagles Club to not even being in the tournament, and then you were in the championship. You're so damn close,
man. Honestly, I think it was a fast count by Perch, to tell you the truth.
Yeah. Perch is definitely not the most like commendable person on the earth. He's definitely
you guys want to call him the salt of the earth, and you guys want to call him this and that. I see through Perch, okay?
You see through the charade that he's like the best human on earth.
He wants to go around, shaking hands, kissing babies, doing that, I know the real Perch, okay? Guy's a heathen.
That's funny because Perch does listen to this. So I don't even need to clip this part and send it to him.
No, you won't have to. He's gonna hear it and he's like, well, son of a.
Yeah. Oh gosh. Gosh dang
Dang it, Vega! I didn't know. He'll apologize to me.
Oh shit. Well, I'm out of bullets. Chris, do you have
I
anything
do
else
have to
on your
ask a
mind?
real
Yeah.
quick question, right? As the Heritage Champion, how is it dealing with that belt and those wings that come out from the top?
Do you get
Man,
poked?
Man, you could kill somebody with that thing. Like, not that you can't kill. Like, if you chuck like another belt at somebody really hard and like hit them in the right spot, obviously it's gonna hurt, and you could probably injure them. But you can legitimately kill somebody with this title. It is so sharp. I'm pretty. It's cut my jacket a couple times. Like, that wasn't even like my jacket. My jacket was just swinging there, and it just grazed it. And it cut open my jacket. I was like, "You got to be kidding me!"
It's gotta be sharper than the winged WWF Championship belt, right? It's gotta be sharper than that one.
It has to be. It's definitely. I feel like it's the points. Someone had to have filed them down. There's no way, because there's no way that it was created that way.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Maybe you could use that as like a dirty tactic. And
Shit, I might.
Have the crew hold them down and then torture the opponent with that.
I want everybody on the roster to know, like, I literally have a weapon in my hand at all times.
At all times. Oh, that's great. Well, I mean, congrats on all your success, man. I don't know if anyone tells you enough or you need to be reminded of it, but like we've just been enjoying since 2017, we've been doing your shit. So I think we just want to just appreciate you.
No, I don't know if you've seen, man. People pretty much hate me. So no, really, guys, I really appreciate it. The fact that you guys even are, you keep up for this long and have followed the storyline long enough to be able to want to talk to me about it here 5-6 years later. I greatly appreciate it.
Yeah, we love the story. Yeah, it was worth it. The storytelling was that good to us, I think. And Chris and I always say that's our favorite part. So moves are nice, but you need that story to sink your teeth into.
I 100% agree.
Davey, you want to drop your socials? Best way to keep up with you is it Twitter, Instagram?
Oh man, yeah. So, man, I haven't done this in so long. I have to figure it out real quick. Instagram, I still use. It's Davey Vega 85. My Twitter has actually changed, and I got to figure that out.
SPTFREV.
Is that a new nickname, Spitfire?
The Spitfire.
Yeah, it's actually a new old nickname. My original nickname was Spitfire Davey Vega when I first broke into the business, and I haven't used it in probably 13 years. So,
but are miracles still being worked?
Oh, every day.
Okay.
Every day.
Every day's a miracle.
Yeah, every day is a miracle when you have Davey Vega.
All right.
And I think that's it. Yeah, I think the SPTFRE Vega is my Twitter, and then Grindhouse 99 if you want to keep up with the tag team stuff.
All right.
Awesome. Well, thank you again for joining us, for giving us some time, and just kind of reminiscing on those older storylines, but also looking forward to what's next. So congrats, like Charlie said, on all your success.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to your singles feud with Fitchett this year. So that'll be fun.
just for that, I'm gonna nix it. I'm like, nah, they said they wanted that. I don't.
We can make them wait a little longer.
I'll lose my smile and then I won't be back for a while.
All right. As far as Two Heels, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say I really appreciate you guys for having me. Thank you. It's been a blast.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. Just a quick reminder to follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, 2 Heels and a Face. That's number 2 Heels and a Face. And make sure you check out that article that Charlie keeps talking about.
Yeah. Go read it, damn it.
Go to twoheelsinaface.com. That's
And
number
let me know.
2heelsinaface.com.
Let me know what you would do differently, you the listener. How would you put this man's fate in your hands? This man that we have on the line. What should he do? You know, just don't be too smarky about it.
Pick and choose Davey Vega's career.
Yes, pick and choose the next move.
Make sure you also go to aawpro.com to get tickets for the next show. And yeah, that's it, man. Thank you both.
Yeah,
Thank you guys.